Says that we are live. Hey everyone, welcome to another session, and I am excited to invite back a person who was referred to earlier today during one of the sessions. I know one of the speakers said, yes, Will Smith, I know who you are. And there is the Will Smith who is previously been mentioned. There you go. So Will is with a company called ManoByte. And we're going to talk about plumbing a lot. So all of a sudden, we're talking about pipes, plumbing, leaky faucets,
Yes.
pumps, and just overall plumbing. Will, excited to hear what you have. Looks like you are a top-notch plumber. All right, this is yours.
All right, fantastic. Just a quick disclaimer, unlike Doug's session earlier that turned you all into farmers, this will not turn you into a plumber. So please do not, the analogy that we use here today, please do not try this on your own homes. As we present this, or as I present this, please think of how your own processes and how you can make some changes there. So I will leave my camera on for a little bit because, yes, my name is Will Smith. And to avoid any confusion, I'm going to make sure that my camera is on, because I heard that there's another Will Smith out there. I don't know, maybe he is famous, not too sure. But anyway, today I work for a company called ManoByte, and we are a Diamond Partner Solution agency with HubSpot. And so basically a channel management solution provider. And we help strategize, develop, and implement digital assets, sales enablement tools, channel management tools like CRMs, PRMs, ERPs, and things like that to really help people improve the effectiveness of channel marketing efforts. And so today, let me go ahead and share my screen real quickly. And so today, what I'd like to take a look at with you today, can everyone see my screen okay? Give me a thumbs up in the chat or something like that. Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to share with you today, we're going to take a look at some tips for optimizing your channel management efforts. We're also going to look at some common indicators that may indicate to you that you need to address some problems in your channel. And then finally, we'll take a quick walk through today's key takeaway, which is the Find It app that ManoByte has developed. And that is, you can find that on the HubSpot app marketplace. So let's get started. So we said there's going to be a lot of plumbing analogies here. So here we go. Too often, many channel strategies, they basically fall short of fully delivering on your potential revenue for really three primary reasons. Number one, your channel partners, your indirect sales partners, they're not engaging or they're not being supported to sell better. Number two, your manual or non-existent lead routing process is causing your leads to fall through the cracks, or in this analogy, to drip out of your pipes. And number three, your demand generation strategy focuses on only marketing and recruiting new partners. And so you're not creating end user focused messaging and campaigns and things like that. So as we said before, I want to think of your channel strategy as like a plumbing system. The prospects flow through your system. They should be routed to the right entity or to the right person in your channel who can help them make a purchase. So as I said before, do not try this at home. But again, as we work through this on your actual pipes, but as we work through this analogy together, I'd like you to take a look at your own channel strategy or even your own business processes and where there are opportunities that you can really optimize. So here's what we're looking at for the analogy. In the first part here, the faucet. That faucet represents the deals that are won by your indirect sales reps. And then your piping. This is very similar to, this is your buyer's journey, basically, that goes through your channel partners and basically your overall distribution network. And then finally, that last picture there, well, that's the well pump. And that well pump kind of represents your top level demand generation strategy. This is what, is pulling in. This is what's attracting those leads to then be funneled through your distribution network. So let's take a look at three kind of problem areas that we see generally. So if you have great content, a great channel content and marketing strategy, but you have a poor lead routing system, in other words, you have a good well pump, but your pipes are bad, you're not really realizing your fullest revenue potential here. So essentially what you see in the faucet is kind of this slow drip. And you probably figure, well, that's the best that I can do at this point. Maybe it's a slow quarter or a slow month, or maybe it's just the time of the year. But really, in reality, you're actually pumping a lot of water through there. But because you have a leaky pipe system, very little of it makes it out of the faucet. So that's scenario number one. Let's take a look at scenario number two. Let's say that your piping is really good, no leaks, but you don't have a really good top-level lead generation strategy that's effective. So good pipes, but a bad well pump. And so you may not be losing sales within that pipe strategy. However, you could actually increase your revenues by generating more interest to kind of send through that really good pipeline channel. And then finally, the third scenario I want you to look at is, let's say you have a broken faucet. So you've got a good well pump, you got really good pipes, but your faucet is bad. So in this case, it doesn't matter how much demand you're creating for your products, and it doesn't matter how smooth that pipeline is, because essentially where the water comes out, that faucet is broken, and that's where you're going to have, that's an indicator of poor sales close rates by your channel partner. It's that simple. You're essentially just kind of tripping at the finish line there. So let's start with the faucet here. Let's start right there and take a look at that broken faucet and how we can help optimize this part, the most visible part of your channel. I don't know about you, but I don't know much about plumbing, but I do know how to operate a faucet. So I know that there's a problem when water's not coming out the right way, or if there's some sort of issue, or maybe a loud noise or something scary like that. So let's look at the faucet. That's probably the easiest thing to fix first. So let's fix that broken faucet. So common problems that we see here, or common indicators that there is a problem, is number one, your indirect sales reps, they understand your value proposition of your product, or they don't have good examples of your use case. Number two, partners are not nurturing leads properly. They just kind of say, here's the product, yes or no. Partners aren't essentially asking for the sale. They don't have any closing techniques. They just, again, present the product and just say, well, what do you think? Is it a yes or is it a no? And then finally, your partners have very little incentive to pitch your product at all. So how do we solve these problems? Let's solve these problems using sales enablement. So the first thing is, let's do some sales training here. Ultimately, as humans, we know what we like and we like what we know. So providing sales training so that your partners not just know your product, but really know your product and understand some of the use cases of your product and the things that they can actually do that. Again, they like what they know and know what they like. So let's do some skilling up with also some playbooks here, some sales playbooks, so that they can see a very step-by-step, streamlined, logical, sequential process that they can really just latch onto and replicate every time that they have a really good lead. You could all help with some closing aid materials, providing some closing techniques that have specific messaging, and basically teaching them how to ask for the sale and how to close on that sale. Another thing you can do is put some lead nurturing templates, so that this way they can understand the difference between a hot, a warm, and a cold lead, and provide messaging, clear messaging for each one of those stages of the sales process. And then finally, I think this is the best way to do this, and is to have a dedicated channel account manager. That is a person, not just relying on AI, but a person, someone who takes ownership, someone who takes responsibility for the strategic, and the key word here is strategic support of this particular channel. And so my question to you is, and maybe you want to put this in the chat over here. I think I'm pointing in the right direction. Put this in the chat. Are you a number one, a no drip faucet? Do you think number two, a one drip faucet? Or do you think you're a number three, a multi-drip faucet. And as I'm explaining this, go ahead and put that in the chat. Do you think you're a 1, a 2, or a 3? So a no drip faucet means little or no deals are being won sales partners. And any deals that you're getting are mostly by luck. Great, I see. Thank you, Charles. I see you got a 3. That's perfect. That's optimal. That's where we want to be. Your 1 drip faucet, you're starting to see some deals starting to be won by some sales partners. Probably implemented some baseline sales enablement measurements or measures rather, like sales playbooks or product training for your sales reps. So they start to get that experience. If you're, like Elizabeth indicated, if you're at a 2, that's a great place to be because they're getting a taste of that success. And once they taste that success, they can say, okay, now let's keep going. Let's replicate that success. And if you're, again, like Charles, who indicated that he's a number 3 here, you've got your partners hitting quota, maybe even going above their quota, and you've really implemented some intentional sales enablement measures like those lead nurturing templates, closing aid materials, and maybe you even have a dedicated channel account manager, which again, I think is the best solution here because it has some, and automation is great, don't get me wrong. I do like automation, but to have somebody who knows the partner better than AI and knows your people better than AI is so important because they can really route those leads to where they need to be and make sure that that faucet is truly fixed. So the question here is, do you know how your faucet is doing? Because you really need some visibility into your partner sales funnels. Like you're going to need something like a partner portal or a PRM with some CRM integration as well. Because without this visibility, you really won't know which partners are struggling and which ones are just knocking it out of the park on a regular basis. And if they are knocking it out of the park on a regular basis, how can you, again, take their experience and their success and replicate it and devote some energy to those that maybe aren't doing so well? So now that we've taken a look at the faucet, let's take a look at these pipes here. Okay, let's take a look at some of your pipeline. So great analogy. I hope you're following me here. Anyway, first, common problems we see. Number 1, expecting your partners to be responsible for generating demand for your products. Number 2, a failure to market to end users on your website and through your marketing campaigns. Or number 3, often we see a failure to route leads to your partners, whether that's done manually or whether that's done in an automated way. So let's get our leads to our partners by using some through channel marketing automation, TCMA here. So some of the solutions that we've taken a look at here are, number 1, you can use some automation. And this is very simple. Just base it on geography, base it on product type, something like that, and then simply use a HubSpot workflow to route that to your partners. You can also do some manual lead routing to your partners as well, because again, there is this human element here. You can have your channel account manager monitor that website, whether that's the entire website or just your website form with your offer on it, and then they can take that, analyze the data there, and route those leads manually to the relevant partner. The next thing is creating a self-service website lead distribution right there on your website. So create a partner locator or create a product locator directory that's built into your website. And this is where the Find It app that ManoByte has developed that you can find on the HubSpot marketplace. This is where this comes in. Again, it's self-service, allowing visitors to your website to self-identify. This is what I'm looking for. This is my location, or can I find a partner that's near me? So very important there. And then finally, providing some end user focused collateral for your partners. So essentially, a lot of people, what they do is on their website, they're only marketing they're trying to just bring in new partners and that's it. So that's great. That's one thing that your website can do. But here I'm suggesting to kind of also supplement that. And the second thing is to provide end user focused marketing collateral for your partners so that they can start to really solve some of those issues that end user is using. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but essentially, this is going to be creating for your partners campaigns in a box and just making it easy for them, reducing that friction so that they don't have to worry about social media copy. You have a template for them, or what graphics should I use for this email? You have created for them an email template. You've curated the content for them. Again, reducing that friction so that they can easily get that collateral out and really start helping not only your business, their own business, but also your business as well. So let's take a look at this progression, so this development of this channel. And again, with this picture here, think of your pipeline. Are you at a 1? Are you at a 2? Or are you at a 3? So the question here is, what does your distribution network look like? Do you have your end users going through a positive buying experience through your channel? So put it in the chat. You think you're a number 1 where we have just this disjunct crossing pipes? And if you're there, that's okay. Again, this is kind of a safe space. We can admit this and we can, there's no way to go but up if that's where you are. Are you a 2 where we see some of these twisting pipes? Or are you a number 3 where we see those direct, straight pipes? So if you're a number 1, your channel is probably pretty disjunct. Your partners may be competing for the same deals. You may see a lot of leads that are falling through the cracks, or as I like to say, leaking through these pipes. So a lot of times leads are kind of forced through a very unpleasant and sometimes confusing buyer's journey. Number 2, the twisting pipes here. We've implemented some good things here, maybe some deal registration transparency. Maybe we've closed a few gaps, things like that. We're starting to get somewhere, so which is a good and positive thing. And then finally, ideally, we want to see those straight pipes. We want to see a channel management approach that is succinct, that's clear, that quickly routes those leads and closes those leads. Send them to those send those buyers to the most relevant channel partner within your network so that they can make a purchase. So the question ultimately is, how seamless and streamlined is your buyer's journey in this through channel? And so finally, let's take a look at the well pump here. So some of the common problems that we see at ManoByte are you're not sending leads to your partners, or you're sending leads to your partners, but they're unqualified or they're not ready to buy. Or your website is solely focused on just recruiting partners. And I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but right now we're going to dig a little bit deeper here. So some of the solutions that we've come up with is, number 1, let's start creating end user focused marketing campaigns so that we can really target those end user awareness searches, so that we can really answer those end user consideration questions, and so that we can also solve those end user decision hesitations, so that this way you're not just overcoming the objection, but you're also resolving the objection as well. So, and yes, your website should be generating leads that are ready to purchase. And so this goes back to that website having a dual purpose. Don't use your website to just recruit new partners. Use your website to help nurture those leads and really get focused in on your marketing campaigns with end user awareness searches. So, and those searches, those consideration questions, and really solve for those objections that you'll see. So let's take a look at this. Maybe you're at a 1 or 2 or a 3. If you want to put that in the chat, that would be great. The empty well pump, well, basically, this is just a business that assumes that their partners will generate their own leads. They don't even help them. The middle well pump is a business that's able to send some of those leads to those partners based on some digital or physical lead generation tactics. And but sometimes those partners are not quite getting there. Maybe we've got a broken faucet up at the top there. But the really the ideal situation here is having that well pump, that business that generates enough leads. They're high quality leads. They're able to focus on selling those leads and just getting them and repeating that process over and over again. So ideally, we want this kind of 3 things: nice faucet, straight pipes, and a really well working well pump here. So And of course, this is going to take time. That nice dripping faucet, indirect sales partners who are able to sell well, they're trained on your products, they're supported maybe by an account manager, a manager that's a human that knows your partner better than AI. We want to see some nice straight lines, straight pipes for your distribution network so that the buyer's journey is just really smooth and just really, really enjoyable from initial engagement all the way through to purchase, delivery, and follow-up. And then finally, we want to see an active, steady pumping well pump for your demand generation. And this demand generation strategy is not just for your partners, but it's also very end user focused and intended so that you're sending those qualified leads right to your partners. All of this system works together. And of course, a strategy like this, well, it takes time, it takes persistence, and it's knowing the data, understanding the data, and then iterating on that data. So here's the takeaway. If you got one thing that you can do this week, at least solve for the self-serve lead distribution. And that is where the Find It app comes in. And I see Natalie is here. I guess I'm running out of time. Sorry, I get excited talking about things I understand when it comes to marketing, but not necessarily the plumbing in your home. So I just want to make this I have a video, but I'm not going to show it. I don't even know if the sound will come through, but the Find It app is something that is a one-time purchase on the HubSpot marketplace. You can easily create, it's basically a lead routing solution. You can easily create through products, through people or partners. I encourage you I'll put this actually in the notes if that's okay. And or I'll put it in the chat so you can take a look at it. There's a demo. There's also a really nice 2.5-minute video. It's so easy to use. I get hives when I think about coding, and I had no problems with this. So I'll put that in the chat for you. 3 links. I just sent them over there.
All right. Well, thank you so much. A very nice and entertaining presentation. Lots of plumbing analogy here. Lots of things learned here. We are out of time, so thank you so much for taking the time. And hey, everyone, I will see you at our next session.
Thanks, everyone.